Today we are recapping our Agentic Speedrun Hackathon what we had already. The challenge for this event was to build the attendance system for our HR, and today we have three guests there. One is as organizer group, one is the mentor, and the last one is the winner who was able to beat the speedrun and take the first place. So welcome guys.
Thank you.
Okay. So today we will talk mostly about this hackathon, and we will start with Mratio, which is one of the organizers. So let's talk about it. What was your impression or yours impression about creating this beautiful event?
Yeah, it begins as a first hackathon in February, where we had the microservice speedrun, and it was about the creation of the microservice, which has some really criteria, and the target or goal was to create it as fast as possible, and of course the microservice should be really fast. So we really measured on milliseconds how fast it is. But it was also done mostly by AI, and we had just 10 members there, and then we thought it was a really great event. Let's maybe think about how to provide it to the wider group, and we realized that it was about AI, but it was not sold as AI, right? So this time we thought that, hey, let's do the similar thing, but maybe for the wider group, but let's sell it as AI agentic thing. As in these days, this is the most important thing, because we saw it clearly in the first hackathon from results that some guys which were just prompting were not able to finalize even the target or the match the goal, but the rest we saw that it was basically about how the guys are able to set up the agentic workflow. So that was the idea, and that's why we thought about it.
Yeah. Was it hard to set up this kind of hackathon? What was the behind the scenes?
Yeah, we began as something, let's put it just to the wider group, but let's do the same. So we thought first that we will do exactly the same evaluation, same target, but we will just sell it in this way. But after some times we realized that it will be good to open this hackathon also for not only for the backend guys, but also for frontend guys, also front testers. Also for some guys outside of the Wisma location, Košice location. So that's why we also agreed that we will make it in English, that we will provide also ability to attend for the guys from our teams, of course. So not completely outside, but some guys outside of the Slovak location was also part of our teams. So we would like to enable to access this hackathon also for them. And suddenly we had like 90 people there, and we realized that probably we need to completely do it in a different way. And there was thoughts how to do it, and there was a brave decision to go to the way or set it up like put everything to the AI, because it will be a lot of repositories. It will be very hard to do it in some different way, and why not? At the end, it's agentic workflow hackathon. So we started thinking about providing really freedom for the attendees, so they can really choose whatever they would like to as a tech stack. But we defined just some goal or targets based on the functional specification, nothing more. So there was no like defined interfaces, how it should look like, and this kind of stuff for APIs, nothing like that. So it was really open, and then of course it means that it is harder to deploy it, because if you do not know what the tech stack is, then it's harder to do it. So we provided just information to the guys that they need to run it by themselves, and we decided that we will evaluate it via AI. So that was the decision we made at the end, and we had at that moment really like I don't know, 8 days or similar, and also there were 2 weeks where you had holidays in Slovakia, so
Yeah.
-2 then. So
What was the goal of those hackathon? What was the product at the final result?
yeah, the topic. We were thinking about that as well, because we would like to use it somehow. So do not create something what is just trash and we will forget it. So we asked HR, also other people from the company, from our location, what can bring the value basically. And at that moment we were considering that we will need to buy some new tool for the attendance. And that was the trigger for us to take it and make the topic for this hackathon, the attendance system.
Yeah. So you had some idea and so on, and now it's day of the hackathon. And what do you think, Lukáš? He was the mentor, one of the mentors. How it started and how it's gone?
Yeah, so people started, and a couple of people was coming to our mentors for asking advice. For example, one guy comes there and asks how they should manage more people, because in their team was like 10. So it was like really hard to me, because I was thinking like individual, because we had like teams and individual. So like individual, I should create like every agent to do some role, but I just advise there like just do a brainstorming with the AI and ask about this question. But we had like a few categories like front-end, back-end, front-end testing, back-end testing. So I just thought that maybe it's good to divide based on the categories.
Yeah.
And also, some people was coming related to the plugins, workflows, and stuff like that. So I just recommended, for example, the superpowers. So
from this, from your point of view and what you saw there, how the developers or guys was coding this? It was just one prompt and orchestration and so on, or it was like man in the middle, basically the building of this application, or how it was?
Yeah, from my perspective, mostly people was thinking about the using the agent like in the chat, but not thinking in the orchestration. So usually, you are using only one session and you are just doing like texting with the AI. But I just thought like there is like extension layer, so you can orchestrate another agents doing some skills, commands and stuff like that. So yeah.
And was there time difference is real with between orchestration and just chat about with one agent? But what about tokens? Because so that was a part of this, and we have used a lot of tokens. So
especially when you have like a lot of context there, so the requests are really expensive, so it spent a lot of tokens. So I just thought like how those extension is working when you have sub agents is like clear context window there, so it's better like to have also the best model for the orchestration, but you can have only Sonnet model, for example, for the another task, and it's cheaper, so you can better manage the context in the sessions.
Yeah. What about as you said, we had teams, we had individuals. What about this? What was, from your point of view, better, or how the teams were working together? Because multiple PCs for the team members and just one individual with one PC and one code session. So what is
I think
better?
Maybe it's better questions for Anton.
It will.
Because and they won in this team category. But from my perspective of view is like hard to say, because I'm usually working like alone on the project. So I just my recommendation was for that guy to use AI for grooming. So
because I was also in the team with guys, and basically firstly I was the one that break the tasks, and basically share the tasks between and we were committing task status, and it was working like that. So
yeah, I think it's harder to work with AI when a lot of people there, because a lot of collisions and issues.
Yeah. So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. We went with 4 people, including myself. All members were from my real team. These are the people I have to work with every day, and we are using Cloud Code on a daily basis. So we figured this might be a very good challenge for us to prove to ourselves that we can, in fact, work together on the same projects, because this is what we do every day, and still, use agentic workflows and succeed to some extent. So I mean, I can imagine that working with fewer people can actually be a bit easier with Cloud Code, because then you don't really have to think about that. But I mean, we were 4, right? 2 guys for backend and 2 people for frontend. And we spent, as I mentioned, I think in a previous podcast, which I recommend checking out, when working with agentic AI, I think you should spend the most time planning the work, because writing the code is just the smallest piece of a puzzle, right? Actually rewriting the code when you have a wrong spec, I found most difficult thing to do. So that's why we spent, I think it was like a couple of hours in the morning to create a perfect plan based on the Markdown files that we have. And then, we added the fact that we have 4 team members and each one is good at something else. Then we added that to context to Cloud Code and prompted it to divide the work in a way that all of these 4 parts can be worked on individually, right? So we don't have to wait one on another, because we didn't really have that much time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we had some merge conflicts, but that was not something that Cloud couldn't figure out. So yeah, I mean, if we did it that way, that meant also that we had to wait for the results until the last run, because I think Ratu can say a little bit more about that. The results were coming like in the batches, right? And since we did planning in the morning, then coding in the afternoon, we were kind of, short on time, so we didn't get the results that often, so it was nerve-wracking a bit.
Yeah, that's basically from the feedback from the formula what we got after the hackathon. We got some of those feedback answer that it was this elevation was just some teams has just 1, some 2, and so on, and it was basically, let's say, hour before closing the repos and so on. So maybe this is a question for you, Ratu. Why it was just some of those elevations, and those also there was a problem with dashboards. You already started talking about this, about the tech stack was totally different and it was random for everyone. So I think this has also something with this. So how it was?
Yeah, exactly like you mentioned. It was that decision, that brave decision to go to the evaluation purely to the AI, through the AI, which means that you do not know how much time it will take for these concrete repositories, which is done by the 100 people. So that's basically was really brave. What we did, maybe the mistake is that we will provide it in a way that for a couple of teams it was there, but not for all of them. And I think that was a big mistake. If we provide just the final round, which will be valid for all of the people, then it will be a bit better, because there is no advantage of those people which had the results sooner. So
also
that's something what we can learn from.
I heard from the guys that those which didn't have these results there, they just check the results from another team, check the tests what was there, and they just say the code that okay, there are the results and testing from the other teams, do it and fix our code, and that's it. So
exactly, that's also something for the future to really consider, if we should even provide some semi-results, because then exactly each of the team will just check what is the difference and do it. But then the creativity and the ability to improve it by themselves is much lower. So we need to reconsider that maybe.
Yeah, and as we started about this dashboard and the elevation, how it's on behind, so hardware and so on, and tokens, and did you spend a lot of tokens for this?
That was also tricky because after first round was provided, we realized that we are really close to the limit, even if we are using the team premium plans.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we didn't provide it any other rounds, just the final one. So that decision was correct. And saves us the ability to accomplish it even. So yeah.
So you kind of didn't know about this value of tokens, but you will spend with this innovation because of
upfront. It's really hard to say. You can create your application, but it still can be much different from the others. And also it can be that if you are doing something in parallel for much more than one, also it's hard to predict it.
Yeah. And let's go back before the hackathon starts. You created a hackbot for basically everything what happens before the hackathon was happening within this hackbot. What was that and why you created this?
Yes, the hackbot was the tool which I was thinking about because I created a form, and of course you can ask the questions. But then after some times we realized we had much more people. We need to get much more information about the future thing to have ability to plan it appropriate way. That's why I was thinking, hey, maybe it will be changing. I need to add some new questions. We need to add more data. Also provide some ability to see what is the status. At the other hand, we also were using some GitHub accounts. I do not want to really have our provide the ability to share some GitHub accounts to another person. It's sensitive data, so that's why we created the hackbot. And the hackbot basically was the bot which was just checking about some word and then reacting and providing the registration information and also providing the option how to register and make the changes of your data.
What do you guys think about hackbot, especially Jonathan? He was one of those.
I think I haven't really utilized it that much. I just did like basic stuff, but I mean, it was a great idea. I think automation of stuff like that with the AI is a way to go in Slack because you don't really have to go through the burden of doing like small chores right by yourself because managing 100 people can be tricky, right? So if you can offload that to AI, I think that's a great way to do.
Yeah, but basically we had to put there the GitHub account and some other things, and let's imagine that you need to manage everyone account manually and so on. So yeah, definitely it was great.
It saves some time, I think. Yes.
But also it saves some time, but was it really save of time? Because you need to provide this hackbot to us. So
yeah, the creation of it was not that difficult. I think it was a couple of hours, maybe 4 or 5 together. And of course, from that time, I needed to improve it after I saw that the outcome is not appropriate because I also got the feedback. That's why I also was designing that hackbot like, hey, I need to connect it to my account because I need to see the outcome to be able to react if I see that something is going not in a correct way. And there were some couple of cases where I needed to improve.
Yeah. Cool. But it was really good, this hackbot, and guys use it for fun also, I saw that, but yeah. Okay, we started about this tech stack, and basically there was positions what was evaluated, so like backend testing and so on. And we saw that basically with this hackathon, everyone can step into another position, basically another role. So backend developer with C# skills can do it in the front end and so on. What do you think about this? How it will change the rules, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll be full stack very soon, right? It kind of erases the difference between being able to do just the backend because I mean I don't really write the code anymore, right? So it doesn't really matter what language is going to be for me. For all I care, I mean we can do C++, right? If it's fast and reliable, why not? But you still need to be able to design the architecture properly, right? Or at least know how to do it, how to guide Claude But the other thing is that part of the front end development should be design, and at the current state, I don't really like the AI generated pages so much. So I think there still needs to be some human touch to it.
Yeah, definitely. But we already have, for example, code design, which is generating quite good designs, at least what is mine check on this, and I would disagree with this. So.
Yeah, sure, but the creativity of AI is much less than creativity of humans.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is still
course.
something we are better at.
Yeah, and basically you need to evaluate on this a lot of times. So yeah.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think, Lukas, about this?
Yeah, so for example, I am an Android developer or mobile developer. That's like my main role, and I was winner in the front end testing, like individual. So I think that we should change our mind related to the roles, because like Anton mentioned, it's important to know or have a knowledge how software architecture or software development is working, and then you can guide the cloud or create the orchestrations when you have the skills how to do that, or how describe those processes and stuff like that. Create the guardrails for the checking the also quality, because it's important, the security and stuff like that. Combination of the tools with static code analysis, so every like working on this system of the orchestration is important, and on the end you will have more better generated code.
Yeah.
So I think this system, like you have this role, or like some people mentions, like I am front-end developer, I can't go for backend. For example, in previous hackathon, it was related to backend. I can't do backend because I am front-end. We should, skip that, because today you can do that,
Yeah.
because we have tools which.
Breaking walls.
Yeah.
So. Okay, then another question from a little bit outside of hackathon, but what do you think? We are generating a lot. Also on this hackathon, we had a couple of hours, and we created basically full up. And what do you think? How it's controlled by, or who is controlling, and how it's this value provided for the generated code? It's 100% correct code. It's spaghetti code, or what do you think?
Like I mentioned before, so those guardrails are really important. So for example, in my case, you need to have combination like static analysis code. So this is like the first part, and the second part is created some reviews based on your prompts or skills or sub-agents to do that. And also I am doing front-end, so UI testing. So it's really important also to have ability to the agent to click on the device, do steps like we was doing before. So there are also some reviews documents, and when everything is going well in some part of the application, usually you don't need to look on that, right? But when something happens, agent can just tell you like, okay, I can proceed with these steps in the flow. That's something happens there, so probably some changes broke the app or something like that. So usually you need to have output document to do a review and check it. And also related to code, you can write another markdown files for the reviews. You can have multiple steps of the review. So
what does it mean, or what is you describing it, that we need to have better testing and basically end-to-end testing better than we had before, because before we did changes and
before we didn't change 300 files per every release, So when you are doing release every 2 weeks or month with those kind like lot of changes, you have stress all the time, and it's really interesting, but it's like it is.
Those pull requests now looks like at minimum is 100 plus changes and change the files, not changes. And it's hard to review it by human basically, and keep the context in your head during the review.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think, Anton?
Yeah, I totally agree. But what I think we are looking at AI not exactly correctly, right? Because it's basically as if you had another teammate. So imagine you have extremely efficient developer that creates a lot of, like great, huge PRs.
Mhm.
You still have to check it yourself, right? I mean, you can go to that developer and say, okay, please just break it down to smaller PRs, but you can still do that with the AI the same way. Yeah, the true risk, as Lucas mentioned, is that we are doing a lot of changes because it's fast, it's cheap, or we can't do that. We can be, I don't know, maybe 10 times more efficient than we were writing the code manually. But, as a result of that, we definitely need to adapt to the fact as well. Either, you need to spend much more time on the review yourself, or you can utilize some of the AI tools to guide you to weak points, which is what we are trying to do as well, either with superpowers, or you can have static analysis, right? You can have security MCPs. We are using Aikido, for example, flagging some of the weaknesses in the code. And, it's like, not really only to write the code, but, test it, analyze it as well. This is something that can be done with AI as well, but still there needs to be some, human eyes on that issue.
Yeah, basically, till now we had those tools like nice to have, but from those days it looks like it's not nice to have, but it's crucial to have.
Yeah, it's definitely a must from now on.
And what about the team and how will this affect the teams? What do you think? Team members and so on. So.
Well, I mean, from the long term, short term is that we are all going to be full stack, more or less, which is what we already said. But from the longer term, I think we are going to kind of lean towards a product management, more or less, right? Because this is something that we are going to inevitably, from my point of view, because you just need to have an idea on how to do it. Product manager / software architecture, right? You need to provide it with the domain knowledge that you have. Currently, Cloud Code during the via the context doesn't really have all that much information, especially if you have more repositories for infrastructure, front end, back end, whatever. But you, as a human, as a senior developer, should have that. That's why you're a senior developer in the first place, and you need to guide that in the same way as if you were a tech lead, for example, and you have, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 medium to senior developers. You still need to guide them, and that's what we are all going to do, I think.
So real teams will be also break into some other teams. Each developer will have own team, basically.
Something like that. I mean, yes, since you are like an AI orchestrator already, you are a team manager.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you would like to have just one person, you need to also resolve the problem that I, as a developer or somebody who really have a responsibility for that service, can go on a holidays or something. So until AI is not able to handle all the production issues, until that you need to have more people. But after, then it will be possible.
At least two.
At least
At least two. Yeah, but well, regarding these production issues, I don't know. It's a little bit scary to give access to production database and fix issue.
I think there can be even small things or small fixes what you can even now put to the AI, and with a good context, which specifically the issues which are repeating from time to time. You can really provide a good prompt to handle that concrete issue, and I think it should be doable to go for.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was thinking about doing something like a bot connected to our Slack, because we are getting some alerts if there is some kind of 500 on production, and we can for sure add it read access to our Kubernetes, right? And it can go through that service, understand the code on the one side, have access to our Kubernetes cluster on the other side, look at the logs, figure out where exactly in the code is that happening, what caused it, and ping us with a message, like the first analysis that even I would do if I was picking up that issue, and write like a small comment. This is most likely caused by the fact that this and that happened, and is there a fix, isn't there a fix, whatever, right? Something like that. We can for sure do that now.
Yeah, basically this what you described right now I created on our project. So basically from the monitoring tool we are getting alerts, and through the webhooks I'm sending it to routines, and this code routines is doing this first check on the code, on the metrics and so on, And then I have some analyze what's happened basically. So I save time for this because then you need to check the metrics, logs, and so on, and it's already done. So
Seems to me like we need to talk.
Yeah.
When agent has only read permission for those logs or databases, it's good,
of course.
But, be careful.
It's basically it has only access to monitoring tools and logs, so not to data itself. So
Yeah.
cool. I think we had a lot of time there, and we are at the end. So thank you guys for really nice discussion, and we can see each other in the next podcast.